Hi. Right. Tom Burns was doing a YouTube video a couple of weeks ago about things that make you feel old. Now, I am a mother of a child who is one. That itself can make you feel very, very old, but we won't go into that. Things that make me feel old, oh my god. Like TV programs. Going on to like Cartoon Network and seeing the new TV programs which are on now, that makes me feel old because it's all like nothing which I used to watch. Sorry, there's a moth on my wall. Stuff which I used to watch doesn't play anymore. I mean, you got stuff like Keenan and Kel. I think that was actually on Nickelodeon, but I'm not quite sure. But Keenan and Kel, you know. Oh, I used to love that show. That was amazing. Other things that make me feel old is when you go to your friends. Oh my god, I've known you for over 10 years now. That makes you feel a little bit old. Another thing which makes me feel old is measuring charts. Having to, when you measure yourself up on a door frame, like, because we never had a proper measuring chart really. We used to measure ourselves on door frames and then put the measuring tape up and see how tall you are. Now I am 5'1", 5'2" roundabout. I'm short. I'm very, very short. And it's when you keep measuring yourself with that little bit of hope and realising that you kind of stopped growing about 7 years ago. But yeah, so that makes you feel a little bit old. Other things that make me feel old is stuff like Mario and Sonic. Remembering the first games of Mario and Sonic which came out and still playing them now. Like, I've lately been into corrupting Mario games, so, and watching how badly they die. That's quite fun. But like Sonic, seeing how much he's changed over the years and going through all of the different games. Now they've like brought Mario and Sonic in together, like Mario and Sonic at the Olympics and stuff. Another thing which makes me feel old, and I really, really miss this, is the fact that when you were little, you could get addicted to games really, really easily. And it could have been any game at all. You could get addicted to anything. You could like play a game for hours and hours and hours on end, and for weeks at a time, and get withdrawal symptoms if you don't play it. Now I find it hard to get into a game, let alone even be addicted to it. And I miss that. I miss feeling that joy of being that addicted to something. Sorry, I've got hay fever, so I've got a bit of a blocked nose. Another thing, melody pops. I used to drive my mother nuts. Especially on one holiday, me and my cousins and all had melody pops. We were running through the caravan, and my mum ended up telling us to get out of the caravan and to go outside and play with them and annoy everyone else with them instead of her. So, yeah, in the end we weren't actually allowed to have melody pops around her because they annoyed her that much. So, and then there was also the popping candy craze as well. Where everybody had popping candy. And this is like when we're all little kids and stuff, but I remember this clear as day. It makes me feel old. I still get excited over popping candy, but it's actually quite hard to find sometimes. And that makes me feel old too, because it used to be everywhere. I just saw the moth on the camera. It was right by there just then. Also in school we used to play Stuck in the Mud, which is like a type of like kind of like tag, but if you got caught you had to stand like that, and depending on the version, like some people, you either had to go under their arms in order to free them from being stuck in the mud, or you had to go through their legs, depending on like who you were playing with really and which they preferred to play. Another one was British Bulldogs, And we used to play that all the time, and it was while I was in school the British Bulldogs got banned. And we were absolutely gutted, because if you got caught then playing British Bulldogs in school, you would then get detention. That was a fun game until then. But yeah. Another one, Scoobies. I actually still have Scoobies downstairs in my spare room, and every now and again I still get them out. I still have a little tinker about with them, and I still remember most of the stuff I used to do. I mean, now one of the fads is loom bracelets, I think, at the moment, which I have also got into, even though it's mostly a kids thing. Another thing, I've got so many things which make me feel old. I feel very, very old tonight. Quick save and hyper value. Quick save no longer exists. At least in my city it doesn't exist, because I haven't seen one around for years. We used to have one down the road from here, and yeah, that's been gone for at least about 5 years, I think, because I think it was there when I first moved into this area. But hyper value, we used to have one by the leisure centre, and it went through a few different stages. Like, you get hyper value, then you get hyper value, and then you get just plain hyper. And I remember the advert as well. It was like, hyper value. So yeah, I feel old when I remember that. And I think I also have that on VHS somewhere. And VHSs make me feel very old. I remember when they came out, I used to watch them all the time. And now, like, I remember VHSs changing to DVDs and cassettes changing to CDs. And I remember having to use floppy disks on computers instead of CDs. And, like, the changeover of that, because that happened not far before the Millennium. And also, yeah, the Millennium. That was 14 years ago. I remember the turn of the Millennium 14 years ago. Over that. Like, it will be 15 years, obviously, at New Year, but which is half a year away, but yeah, you know, it's not that far off when you think 14 years ago, you know. But yeah, the Millennium was 14 years ago. I feel so old. I remember that. I remember getting burnt by one of the sparks of a firework that went off, because we went to a place called Church House Inn, and we spent it down there because my mum used to work in there. And yeah. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They make me feel, because I remember when they were Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. But yeah, their original name is Ninja Turtles, but then they got changed to Hero Turtles in like the 80s, I think. Something like that. But then in the, I think it was early 2000s, about 11 years ago, I think it is, they got changed back into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from Hero Turtles. Now, I grew up with Hero Turtles, and like, they weren't called like a ninja team, they were called a fighting team and all of that. So it was like, oh, that blew my mind when they changed the name. Furbies. I used to love them. I had one. I had a Furby. It was black with a brown front. I have another Furby now, which I can't remember how I acquired it, but it's white and sparkly. But yeah, I have 2 Furbies now. But I won't buy the second one, which came out like 2-3 years ago now, possibly. I won't buy it because my heart is still with the original Furby. That's my childhood is with Furbies. And stuff like Robodog. I think one of my friends had a Robodog, and you could like put the bone up to its mouth and everything, and it would react to the bone and react to you petting it and do different animations in their eyes. I might have had one. It was either me or one of my friends which had one. That I cannot remember, but robo dogs definitely make me feel old. And yeah, and Beyblades. When Beyblades were a fad, my brother had a couple of Beyblade stadiums, and he had a lot of Beyblades, and me and him played that a lot. Stuff like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh card trading games and stuff like that as well. Make me feel, oh, I just feel old now. But yeah, so those are things which made me feel old. I mean, I was feeling old anyway because it was my birthday just a couple of days ago. So I am now another year older than when you guys last saw me. So I am no longer 21, I am now 22. Getting there. But yeah. Oh. I don't like feeling old. Oh well. Right, anyway, I nicked this from Tom Burns. So what I'm going to do now, I am going to say that I want all of you guys to do a video as well, because he was telling everyone else to do a video, and I thought, yeah, why not? But yeah, so now I want as many of people who watch this to make a YouTube video of what makes them feel old. I think I'm going to send this also to a couple of people and tell them that they have no choice but to make it, or I'll slap them. So yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I don't think I'll be editing it before I upload it, unfortunately, but yeah, I shall see you soon. Bye.